Hi, everyone. First Alert Meteorologist Scott Gagliardi here with your Friday morning First Alert Weather Extra. We have much better weather today, at least to start the day. We see a lot more sunshine. Some areas seeing a lot of clouds, but areas along the shoreline, you're seeing more in the way of that sun. Everybody really starts to see those mostly cloudy skies, though, later on today and throughout the evening hours. Can't even rule out the chance of a spot shower, but it is not a big deal. And it's nothing like it was yesterday. So some very, very good news there. Let's take a live look at New London. Beautiful. Look at all the sunshine. 50 degrees. Temperatures, they've been climbing fairly quickly, but they won't climb that much today. Our wind stays out of the north and northwest, and it's really locking in cooler and drier air, especially once these clouds begin to fill in later on today. Here's a live look at Windsor Locks, checking out some of the planes there. You see the UPS aircraft there, 47 degrees. Temperatures climbing, say, another 8, 9, maybe 10 degrees by this afternoon. Clouds out there for Hartford, 48. Notice traffic is moving along smoothly, so anybody heading out for maybe plans this Memorial Day weekend, well, it's okay, at least at this hour. Checking in on the month of May. What a week it's been. Nothing like what we'd expect for May. We started off the month 70s and 80s. Look at that, 85 on the 3rd. What a week. And last week, above average. This week, below. But luckily, yesterday was the coolest day. So we noticed improvements going forward, although they're not big improvements. They're very gradual. Rainfall over in the Hartford area yesterday, just under a half of an inch officially, but other areas saw anywhere from 2 to in some cases near 3 inches. Now, we tied a record in the Hartford area for the coolest afternoon high on May 22nd, 49 degrees. That was a long-standing record, 1909. As far as Bridgeport, though, we actually broke the record for that coolest afternoon high. It's 52. So that was set back about 20 years ago in 2005. So you don't need me to tell you, yesterday was a chilly, chilly day. Rainfall, the heaviest rain certainly confined to eastern parts of Connecticut, say 395, 2 to 3 inches plus. That orange shading is about 3 inches. So some areas saw at least that. The numbers we have officially from the National Weather Service, we haven't gotten the update yet today. The latest update, though, was from last night when it was still raining. And New London, 2.94 inches officially. So we're going to see what the official numbers look like later on today. But either way, a good dosing of rain, an inch to near 2 inches was generally the theme, the least amount. Well, that was up towards Litchfield County, where you saw anywhere from a half of an inch up to, say, 3/4 of an inch of rain. First Alert Live radar getting a much-needed break today, at least right now. Later on this evening, say 4, 5, 6 o'clock, maybe an isolated shower. I'll show you that on First Alert Futurecast in just a minute. Notice 50s confined to the southern half of the state. Danbury 50, 51 in Meriden, 52 in New Haven, and then 50s from Chester through Groton. Everybody else, those 40s, there's a bit of a breeze, so those 40s, they feel more like 40 itself. So take off about 5 or 6 degrees from these temperatures, and that's what you're dressing for as you head out to work or school this morning. Your satellite and radar, notice that big area of spin, say just to the north and east of Cape Cod out in the Gulf of Maine. That is what's left of our nor'easter. Notice some of the blue shadings, though, through parts of the Green Mountains in New Hampshire and White Mountains in Maine. Yeah, that's some snow that they saw there. Mount Washington had several inches of snow. You saw a few flakes through parts of western Mass and southern Vermont. Very, very odd and abnormal to be seeing this kind of weather this time of year. Very unfortunate as well. Out towards the west, notice there's still some green on the map indicating unsettled weather that will stick with us throughout this evening and through part of tomorrow. But we're mainly dry. The organized rain, all of that is behind us. Now, fast forward days 6 through 10, looking at the chance for showers, so a bit wetter than average. that is towards the end of the month and to start June. Temperatures indications are around average, but we'll be mixing in some milder days and then some cooler days. No signals for extreme warmth, which also very unfortunate considering this is the unofficial start to summer. We'll get there, and compared to the way things been, the 70s that we're going to see on Memorial Day, yeah, those are going to feel very nice. I want to give you an update on the National Hurricane Center outlook. This came out yesterday for the 2025 tropical hurricane season that we have ahead of us. That starts on June 1st. Named storms, 13 to 19. Now, the average is 14, so good bet that we'll be above average in that department. Hurricanes, the National Hurricane Center forecasting 6 to 10, the average being 7. So also a good bet that there will be above average number of hurricanes. And then of those 6 to 10 hurricanes, 3 to 5 becoming major. That's wind speeds of 111 miles per hour or higher. It's a category 3, makes a hurricane a major hurricane. The average is 3. So also a very good bet that that will be above average as well. This has been quite an active time period over the last 20 to 30 years. And it all has to do with the warming global temperatures, specifically in the ocean. Once it comes down to it, I mean, there's no debate that warmer ocean water means stronger hurricanes and more of them forming. So that's not the part that's the debate. That's a fact. We see that each and every year. But as you know, it only takes one hurricane to really cause an issue for anybody who ends up seeing it. So we'll be keeping a very close eye on this. Our last landfalling hurricane in Connecticut, well, that was Gloria 40 years ago, September of 1985. We've had plenty of impacts, though, from ones that made landfall nearby. Irene, Sandy, Bob, Henri just a few years ago. Remember that one? That one's the one that made landfall in Rhode Island. It initially had we were in the cone of uncertainty for a bit, and then it shifted east, which is good news because that puts us on the less impactful side of a hurricane. Here's the names, our name list or not our name list. This is what the National Hurricane Center puts out. If you don't see your name, it's always the first thing people do is they look for their name. There's 6 lists out there. So this one will get reused in 2031, and the names will stay the same unless one of them gets retired. That's usually a very impactful storm. That's when you don't use that name again. Names of hurricanes that have been retired: Katrina, Andrew, Michael, ones that caused significant damage. They don't use those names again. It just gets confusing at that point. But back to our weather. First Alert Futurecast. Let's check it out, because those clouds eventually do win out later on this morning and into the afternoon. We stay dry, though, through about 4, 5, 6 o'clock. Can't rule out a spot shower. It's really, really not a big deal. None of these showers are plan-altering, but as you're making your way around the state, whether you're running errands or heading off to, maybe you're going camping. I know some friends who are doing that this weekend. Pitching the tent, yeah, you might be dodging a shower or two. Not everybody sees these showers, and throughout the overnight hours, we'll have a mix of clouds. We'll call it partly cloudy. You're waking up to some sunshine. If you're an early riser on the weekend, here's 6 a.m. But any sunshine that you see tomorrow, once again, will quickly be filled in by some clouds. Expect some sunny breaks throughout the afternoon. Any of these sunny breaks, though, will really help to destabilize the atmosphere a bit. We're not talking about any thunderstorms or anything like that, but it could be just enough instability to get a pop-up sprinkle going. On Saturday, we have really cool and chilly air aloft, so any warmth that we get at the surface will help to fire up a sprinkle or two. Better for Sunday, say still a mix of sun and clouds, more clouds than sun, I should say. But by Monday, that's when we notice wall-to-wall sunshine, mostly sunny, 70s. If you took off Monday, it just happens to fall on my weekend, so I'm very excited about it. It is looking very, very nice. The best day of the Memorial Day weekend. Forecast highs today, notice 50s, maybe near 60 along the shoreline, but it's cooler with all the clouds and that northwest breeze. Once again, that spot shower chance comes in around the evening commute. Forecast lows, back down into the 40s we go. Mainly cloudy, but we'll see So we'll call it partly to mostly cloudy. An isolated shower early, and then improvements overnight with some sunshine to start the day on your Saturday. Temperatures tomorrow, they'll climb into the low 60s. It's breezy, and it's breezy on Sunday, but not expecting much in the way of any precip. High temperatures in the upper half of the 60s. But check out Monday, 76 degrees. That's going to feel fantastic. Tuesday, near 80. A couple more clouds around. At this point, maybe a sprinkle Wednesday, but a lot of the latest data is really pushing that to maybe the Thursday, Friday timeframe or beyond. So either way, any of the showers that we see next week, they don't look too impactful. Isolated to scattered, and temperatures finally making a run at 80, not only on Tuesday when we have forecasted 78, but by the end of next week, those temperatures will make a run at 80. Here's a look at your shoreline high temperatures. 60s today, mid 60s tomorrow, 70 on Sunday, low 70s on Monday and Tuesday. It's looking like a pretty good forecast. We'll take it. Yeah, we could use more sunshine this weekend. But at least we'll get some of it by Monday. All right, guys, that's your forecast. Thanks for watching. We'll have another update on our First Alert Weather Extra. That comes in tonight at 9:30. Have a great day.